8th century Damascus, the city is alive. Lanterns cast golden halos on whitewashed walls. The scent of cinnamon and cardamom floats above the hue of the evening bazaar, and the air vibrates with the syncopated beat of drums. The shimmering pluck of the oud. Imagine the marketplace at dusk, a kaleidoscope of languages and faces where Berber traders haggle over silk, Jewish scribes debate scripture beside Muslim poets, and laughter bursts from veiled women waving through the crowd. This is not just the capital of the Umayyad Empire. It is a living crossroads where every note of music is both a promise and a provocation. But what happens when faith, pleasure, and power collide in the heart of an empire? What if I told you that the most celebrated musicians of this era were not just noblemen, but women, former slaves, and even radicals, in modern terms with LGBT features, who risked exile for their art? Today, we unravel a story that still echoes in the 21st century, a story where music became a both symbol of unity and a flashpoint for debate. Was this decadence or a cultural renaissance? And what can it teach us about the power of art to shape, challenge, and transform society? To understand the seismic shifts of the Umayyad period, let's set the stage with more than just words. Picture an animated map. The Umayyad Caliphate, founded in 661 CE, after the chaos of civil war, blooming across continents. Its borders stretch from the Atlantic shores of Morocco to the bustling bazaars of Samarkand, over 11 million square kilometers. Dots of light mark great cities: Cordoba, Kairouan, Jerusalem, Damascus, Medina, Mecca. While the Umayyad Caliphate established its new political capital in Damascus, shifting the seat of power away from the holy cities of Medina and Mecca, a different kind of energy began to flourish in these traditional centers. Far from the imperial court, Medina and Mecca unexpectedly emerged as significant hubs for music and entertainment, cultivating unique cultural scenes that would define this era's artistic landscape. But this is not just merely an empire of soldiers and kings. It is a mosaic of peoples: Arab elites, newly converted Muslims, Christians, Jews, Zoroastrians, Persians, Berbers, each carrying their own traditions, languages, and art forms. The Umayyad, once a powerful Meccan clan, opponents of the Prophet Muhammad, now find themselves at the helm of a dazzlingly diverse empire. Religion is everywhere, but so is ambiguity. Sunni and Shia Muslims debate the future of the faith. Christian and Jewish communities flourish in cities and countryside alike. Churches and synagogues stand beside mosques and religious festivals. Eid, Passover, Easter, Nowruz crisscross the calendar, is both a strength and a source of tension, as old and new, Arab and non-Arab, sacred and profane, jostle for space in the public square. What fuels this transformation? Wealth. Caravans laden with silks, spices, and precious metals pour into Damascus, while taxes from conquered lands fill the capital treasury. Urban centers thrive, palaces rise, gardens bloom, bathhouses steam, and markets buzz with commerce. The elite drape themselves in Persian brocades, their banquets legendary for their extravagance. Dates, stuffed with almonds, honeyed pastries, wine poured into delicate cups. But prosperity breeds anxiety. Many early Muslims, especially those who remember the Prophet's simple lifestyle, look with suspicion at the Umayyad elite's cosmopolitan tastes. Criticism grows. Religious voices accuse the caliphs and their courtiers of abandoning the unity and simplicity of the early Muslim community for luxury, indulgence, and moral laxity. These are not just the complaints of purists. These accusations become potent political weapons, especially for the Abbasids, who will eventually topple the Umayyads. In Abbasid propaganda, the Umayyad are painted as fasiq, sinful, exploitative, faithless. Chronicler El-Tabari describes their palaces as echoing with the sounds of lutes and laughter while the poor prayed for justice. Whether fair or exaggerated, such charges resonate in a society wrestling with change. To grasp music's significance in the Umayyad era, we must look back to the pre-Islamic Arabia, where poetry and song are the lifeblood of society. Imagine a desert campfire. Elders recite epic poems, children clap to the beat of the deaf, and the melodies of the oud float on the night wind. With Islam's rise, the arts enter a new phase. The Quran, while not explicitly banning music, warns against distractions from righteousness. The Prophet Muhammad's stance is famously nuanced. He endorses poetry and song when they uplift the community, especially at weddings and festivals. According to a famous tradition, when two singing girls perform at Aisha's house during Eid, the Prophet tells Abu Bakr, "Let them be, for every people has its festival, and this is ours." Yet he also cautions against art that mocks faith or promotes immorality. This ambivalence sets the stage for centuries of debate. During the first four Rashidun caliphs in early Umayyad period, music is woven into daily life, especially in Mecca and Medina. Most singers are slaves or freed slaves, often of Persian, Byzantine, or African descent. Their performances are a source of both joy and controversy. Picture a Medinan Friday sermon. A preacher warns, "Music is the wine of the soul. It intoxicates and corrupts." Just outside, a wedding erupts in song, the crowd clapping as a singer praises God's blessings. As the state grows richer, the arts flourish. Medina becomes a center for musicians and singers, both male and female. The art of singing, known for its intricate rhymes and melodies, becomes increasingly refined. Professional musicians emerge as celebrities. Some, like Tuwais, are hailed as the father of Arab song. Others, like Azzatul Mayla, a woman of extraordinary talent, captivate audiences and challenges conventions. But not everyone is pleased. Critics see this explosion of music as evidence of the Umayyads' moral decline. When the Abbasids defeat the Umayyads, they reportedly find hundreds of lutes and drums in the enemy camp, a detail gleefully seized upon by chronicles to reinforce their narrative of decadence. Yet our sources require scrutiny. Many accounts come from a century later Abbasid-era writers like al-Masudi and al-Tabari, whose portrayals are colored by rivalry and nostalgia. Al-Masudi describes the Umayyad court as palaces of pleasure, where sound of song drowned out the call to prayer. But how much of this decadence was real, and how much the invention of their enemies? Let us zoom in on the personalities who shapes the musical landscape and dramatize the stakes they faced. Imagine Tuwais, the son of a Persian slave, standing in the candlelit courtyard of a Medinan villa. The air is thick with anticipation. As he plucks the first notes from his oud, the crowd falls silent, not just in awe, but in tension. For in this moment, a melody could bring him fame or provoke the wrath of a jurist watching from the shadows. Tuwais, known as the father of Arab song and the music industry, was born in Medina in 632 CE. On the same day, the Prophet passed away. His real name was Isa bin Abdullah, and he was also known as Abu Abdel Nath, the father of songs. He was one of the Mukannathun, a group of men who presented as female. Tuwais dropped the first Arabic song with a deaf in Medina. This percussion tool, a square tambourine, and sang lighter songs, preferring rhythms like jazz and ramal. He was a client of the Banu Maktoum, a mawla of him. On one day, Tuwais's music, a blend of Persian, Byzantine, and Arab modes, moves the caliph to tears. Yet the next day, Tuwais is denounced by a local jurist, accused of leading the faithful astray. Defiant, Tuwais insists, "I pray 5 times a day, I fast, I make the pilgrimage. Is music not also a gift from God?" Some say he narrowly escaped exile, while others whisper that he used his influence to shield fellow musicians from harsher fates. Tuwais was able to freely perform his art in Medina, especially at weddings. His music was appreciated, he could make a bereaved mother laugh. He is reported to have delighted governors with his music. Yet controversy arose, with complaints surfacing about Muhannisi musicians like Tuwais, and Marwan bin al-Hakam, the governor of Medina, came for him over his music. People made, quote, allegations against Tuwais, viewing his music, his takanuth, effeminacy, and his flippant lifestyle as potentially leading immorality and irreligion. Defiant, Tuwais said the following: defended himself, "I declare my faith, I pray 5 times a day, I fast, I perform the pilgrimage." The sources discuss the historical debate regarding the permissibility of music in Islam, with some prominent voices arguing for its allowance. However, the specific quote, "Is music not also a gift from God?" is not really found directly addressed. Tuwais was exiled at some point, but he used every opportunity to meet and celebrate with his songs. He showed resilience, believing legends don't quit. Axletree, a former slave of the Ansar, rises to stardom in Medina. She plays the oud with virtuoso skill, her voice both powerful and haunting. Her songs, some say, blend Persian melodies with Arabic poetry, creating something wholly new. One poem attributed to her begins, "O night, stretch your shadow, for in your darkness my longing awakens." At grand weddings and private gatherings, her performances draw both admiration and scandal. As a woman wielding a lute and commanding the attention of the powerful men, Axletree walks a perilous line. Some call her a genius, others a corrupter of morals. Rumors swirl that she once used her influence to sway a governor's decision, though the truth is lost to history. She was renowned for her sheer beauty. She was extraordinarily gifted, an exceptional oud player, and a musician with unparalleled talent. Her voice was very famous, with many comparing it. She was described as the singer with the most beautiful female voice. Her nickname, Meyla, is a mystery, possibly attributed to her distinctive way of walking, her clothing mimicking Egyptian styles, or because she emulated men. Axletree Meyla succeeded earlier iconic female musicians like Shireen, Arnab, Hawle, Rebab, and Selma. She absorbed influences from Rebab and Raika, who introduced Persian songs to Medina, and she wove these into her own captivating performances. Her enchanting performances drew both men and women, and her house was a real cultural saloon, visited by the literary and the musical elite. People frequently visited her because of her musical talents, and her talent attracted a diverse and influential following. She played a significant role in popularizing music in Medina. As a musician, Axletree Meyla divided her year, spending 3 months in Mecca and 3 months in Medina. She was a neighbor of Tuais, and he often sought refuge at her home, spending a lot of time there. Tuais would frequently praise her. Ibn Suraj, a master of both oud and the art of vocal improvisation, becomes one of the most celebrated artists of his age. His music is said to move listeners to tears, whether at a joyful celebration or a funeral. He composes both love songs and mourning laments, showing the emotional depth of music in Umayyad society. His fame spreads from Medina to Mecca and beyond, drawing audiences from all walks of life, including members of the Umayyad family itself. He was among the musicians encouraged by lavish rewards from the rich and the noble. He is described as wearing a wig and having a red face, and was potentially of Turkish origin. He was subject to measures against singers in Mecca under the governor Nafi al-Kama al-Kinani. After contracting a serious illness, he stopped singing and turned to a more religious lifestyle, spending time in the mosque. But these artists are never far from controversy. Early jurists like Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri warn, "Beware the singers, for their words plant the seeds of temptation." Preachers rail against the spread of music, calling it the devil's whisper. Yet for every critic, there are patrons who see music as a symbol of sophistication and power. Imam Malik, founder of the Maliki school, was reportedly more tolerant of music than later Hanbali scholars like Ibn Hanbal, who declared music is the path to sin. The legal debate raged, with real consequences for musicians' life. Step into a Medinan marketplace at dusk. The clatter of bronze cups mingles with the laughter of children. Among the stalls, a singing girl draws a crowd with a haunting melody, while a group of laborers clap along to a folk tune. Music is everywhere, in lullabies sung to restless infants, in work songs chanted during harvests, at religious festivals, and military marches. Farmers sing as they till the land. In cities, street performance entertain the masses. The reach of music is not limited to the elite. It is a shared language, though its forms and acceptability vary by region, class, and community. The Hijaz, especially Medina and Mecca, is the epicenter of innovation. But Syria, Iraq, and Persia each contribute their own styles and instruments. Non-Arab communities, Persians, Byzantine, Africans, are central to this cultural synthesis. Consider this. Just as today's pop stars face both adulation and outrage, Umayyad musicians walk a tightrope between fame and infamy. Modern controversies over music videos, rap lyrics, or the role of women in the arts mirror the anxieties of the 8th century. In some Muslim-majority countries, debates over the permissibility of music remain fiercely contested. In recent years, for example, a popular singer in Egypt was banned from performing after authorities accused her of corrupting public morals, a charge not so different from those leveled at Axletree or Tuais. Pop culture, social media, and global music trends now shape religious identity in ways that would have astonished the Umayyads. The struggle to define the boundaries of art and faith continues. Was this decadence, or was it a cultural renaissance? History is not just about the past, it is about the choices we make today. Should art challenge the tradition or protect it? How do you see the legacy of the Umayyad period in today's debates about culture and identity? Let's keep the conversation going on in the comments. Your voice is the part of this story. As the last notes fade away from the Umayyad courts, we are left with a question that still haunts us. Can beauty survive in a world divided by belief? Will we choose to silence the song or let it shape who we are? Share your favorite historical stories of music or debates over art in the comments below. What song from any era has shaped your sense of identity? Invite friends to join the discussion and help us build a community where history's echoes become today's inspiration. As images of bustling markets, illuminated manuscripts, and ancient instruments fade from the screen, let the music linger in your mind, a reminder that echoes of history are never far away. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep the music of history alive.